our usual that's not a few questions.
Okay, yeah,
Maybe we can talk after.
sure.
Because I'm interested, but I wanna read it.
All right, welcome back to Senate Education, everybody.
Sure.
So one question that just popped up, the age related to school construction, Senate and the House just got a request on behalf of Treasurer P-Jack and Interim Secretary of Education Heather Boucher, please, wondering a request for additional 2 weeks for the school construction aid task force to complete and submit its report to the General Assembly. Any objection to that?
No, but can I fill in a little bit?
Yeah,
It's just that these were so delayed because of the flooding.
I remember that, yeah.
We almost lost, like 6 weeks or something like that. So that's why we don't feel like we're ready yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'll just say fine by all of us, right?
Yeah. I'm surprised you only asked for 2 weeks.
Yeah. So a couple things on my list. I have some bills in related to requests from the agency, but also some of my own bills. I did ask to Senator Weeks' question, if joint fiscal join us next week to really start to dig into what we're all hearing about in terms of a potential tax increase. What are the pressures on the budgets? Anecdotally, I feel what I've said to people is I think this is accurate in part. Schools have used their federal funds in ways that make a difference in the lives of kids. Started new programs, started different exciting opportunities, and mental health, I mean, a range of things, and now those dollars are going away. And I think what's happening in part out there is schools want to really be able to keep these things going. And we'll have Sue Siglowski here tomorrow afternoon. We can ask her as well, and everybody else, what is it that they're seeing? We have an afternoon with them, so bring your questions, one of which will be this. And we'll have our other folks in. On the state college front, I think Morgan's gonna reach out to the new chancellor, and we'll have her in sometime hopefully next week. I was on the search committee, the sort of preliminary search committee that vetted the initial applicants, and then we sent a bunch to the board of trustees and their executive committee, and they chose this individual. So here for her for plans. I could be wrong. I think we might get some pressure to lighten up a little bit on the financial requirements we've put on the state colleges over the years. Again, I could be wrong, but I think one of the things people are, and we've had this a little bit last year too, saying, hey, you guys have asked them to cut a lot, given now inflation, costs of fuel, all these kinds of things. Is there a way for you to also lighten up on that a little bit? And that's something that we'll have to talk to approach the things about. Cost of higher ed, when we have the president of UVM and others in, I went to an NCSL conference. It was really lively, it was interesting. Nobody has any real answers on how are you going to really start to curb some of the cost of higher education, but it's on my radar a little bit. But I don't have a bill to address it. CT bill I mentioned, I put that in, and I think Clarkson, and I believe we might have some of that work start next door in economic development, and then we would take it on as it relates to some of the educational impacts. I do have a bill in, not like Senator Gulick's, this is more of a broad literacy conversation, and I've asked Agency of Education and Beth to gear up for it on Friday. This would take us through the Literacy Council that we started 2 years ago, where it's at, what are we seeing now in our schools. I know we have had, we've made some progress in training teachers. I've said this a million times. We had teachers before our committee 2 years ago that said, listen, we don't know how to teach reading and writing. And so the Agency of Education kicked off this sort of retraining program. I want to see where that's at, and are we seeing any progress from that at this point or not? And then other things that might help, like Senator Hewlett's bill. Are there other areas that we can help in terms of really addressing this core foundational issue that impacts people through their entire lives? I have a very non-controversial bill. I'm sure we can pass it out maybe today if you wanted to, if anybody wants to make a motion. It basically would allow, one of the things I think could make a huge difference in the lives of young kids, and I'd love to have the conversation and see what people are thinking, is if you're a 9th grader, 10th grader, 11th, 12th grader, go abroad. Could that be a game changer? No matter your financial circumstances, whatever, you're able to that year, we have the rate the bill is written in, the Agency of Education would draft rules, do needs testing, all that kind of thing. But could you go abroad for a term? And what would that look like if we as a state said, if you're a high school student, we'd like to take your bucks, we're going to support you, or give you some funds to go abroad and have that experience. Yeah.
Doesn't Essex do that? I mean, I think some schools.
There are programs, yeah,
Right.
There are
But
some,
it's not a state
Yeah.
mandate.
No,
no, and this definitely wouldn't be a mandate, but are there ways for us to say, hey, the state of Vermont is letting, students go abroad for a term.
For academic excellence.
Right, yeah, that kind of thing. I definitely share everybody's concerns around mental health. We'll get an update tomorrow also on teacher recruitment. Continue to worry about teacher salaries. And as everybody here, I think, would agree, a lot of this stuff is part of a bigger picture. If you want to be a teacher, you need a place to live. And so it's connected to housing. You want to rent something or buy something. So those are some of the things that we'll talk to our colleagues next door about. Let me see if I had anything else. There are a bunch of other sort of small miscellaneous bills I put in. We did a miscellaneous education bill just so that we would have a source at other conversations, other topics. The leaders of the Holocaust Memorial reached out to me maybe 3 weeks ago, and I told them that they are welcome to come in and have a conversation about Holocaust education. I thought that we had asked the Agency of Education to kind of do a broad sweep of schools, districts, to see what might be taught right now. I guess we didn't, but one of the things, this is something that I think if we wanted to, it sounds to me, based on the conversation, we're an outlier, that if we want to put something, or direct the State Board of Education to look at this issue, put it in the standards, something that we can have a conversation about, they can consider, that we could have in, please.
so are you referring specifically to S87 or something different?
So I told him we just have the conversation again. I don't remember the details of the act of S87, but I thought, and I obviously was wrong, I thought it was part of the Vermont standards. I thought that as you're learning in high school, at some point, there was something about Holocaust education, but apparently we are one of maybe 15 states where it's not in the standards. So as you're teaching world history, it's not listed as one of the things to cover. We'll let them come in the next couple of weeks and talk to us and see if that's something people are interested in moving on. If we get a sense from the agencies, their thoughts, that's great. Yeah, and that's where I'm at as well. It's going to be an interesting session. And it's not only education that's feeling the financial pressures. It's all of state government at this we've had these federal funds for a couple of years, and I feel as though in some ways we're probably ripping to it today. Now, here we are. Please.
No, I was just curious.
Yeah.
Of the bills that are on the wall.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, anything you're potentially putting in early into the agenda?
I would say if there's something up there that anybody that wants to advocate for, that's what I would leave it.
Okay, that's
I
cool.
don't, to be honest, I haven't looked carefully at the board. I think some of this ended up in miscellaneous education or in the budget. For example, S-157, I think part of that is a study that we ended up doing. 131, this has come up in another context, with, in another conversation, the high school student legal residency issue. I don't remember the details, but that might be something that we could return to.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else? Senator Hashim, you did not mention your bill that landed here today, assuming you're still going to push for it or advocate an act relating to New American Advancement Grant applicants.
Yes,
That came
that
here
one,
today.
yes, there's a conversation that I actually have to follow up on with Scott Giles and part of that, just to see if that change could be made in VSAC rather through legislation, which would be a lot easier. So that's the possibility. I have to follow up on that.
Anything else? All right, so I think since when I was during break, it looks like a lot of folks have vacated the building. So those of us who want to join them. Anybody who wants to stick around, talk to Morgan. Brennan and your assistant, your chief of staff, if there's anything that she needs from us, or if there's a project that anybody thinks Brennan might really love, those are possibilities as well. Yeah, great. And you have usually come with a team.
Yes.
Yeah.
I said she can disperse.
Okay.
She'll be here next week.
Great. Anything else from anybody else in the room? Congratulations, 34 years.
Throw a party.
I don't know Okay.
about that, but.
I think we're adjourned for the day. We'll see everyone tomorrow. We'll pick things up there. Yeah, thanks.